Hey guys, Sean here with a Pokemon game that needs its save battery replaced. So I have everything in front of us that we are going to need to use to replace this battery. This video here is going to be for someone who has never replaced a save battery before in a video game and want a nice, easy to follow step-by-step walkthrough. So that's really what I'm intending on this one. So if this is your first time, welcome. Don't worry, we're gonna get through this together. Everything I have in front of me is everything I use to swap a save battery. I'm gonna go over everything with you. You don't necessarily have to have the exact same tools that I'm using, but something at least similar. Everything that I have in front of me is going to be listed along with possibly some cheaper alternatives. First up, this is my soldering station. This one's really nice because I can actually set the temperature. I can also see when the soldering iron is at the temperature that I want it to be. So next we have Flux, which is going to help the solder stick to the board. The solder itself, this is going to be what we're going to use to attach the battery. This is solder wick. This is going to wick up the solder. The Gamebit tool, this is going to allow us to get into the actual game itself. We have isopropyl alcohol for cleaning the board. This one here is 99%. Make sure you have at least 91%. The lower the percentage alcohol, essentially the more water is going to be in the alcohol. If something has, say, 70% as an example, that's designed more for wounds. The water will help the alcohol stay longer before it evaporates, so it'll help clean the wound. For cleaning electronics, we want a higher percentage that's going to evaporate faster. Hopefully that helps. Cotton swab, I just use this to soak up the alcohol to rub on the device. Oh, I forgot something. Hang on. I strongly recommend some snips like this. I use this for when the solder wick wicks up the solder. I clip off the part that has been used up. These are great. These ones are Klein, but there's cheaper alternatives out there. It's all gonna work the same. The goal is just to clip the solder once it's used. Oh, tweezers. So when you're trying to remove the old battery off of the board, tweezers help for basically popping it free. You don't necessarily have to use tweezers. You could probably use a really, really tiny thin screwdriver or some other tool for prying. I recommend tweezers though. It works great. These aren't expensive. These ones here are part of the iFixit toolkit and have been used so much that I've started removing the lettering off the iFixit. I use these a lot. And lastly, and most importantly, we need a game and a battery to go in the game. Our very first step before we even buy the battery is we're gonna have to take this game, we're gonna have to open it up and see what battery is in there. We're gonna take our Gamebit tool and we're gonna remove the Gamebit on the back of this game here. Set this aside somewhere safe where you're not gonna lose it. Let's open up our game. So now let's take a look here at our board. So as we can see right here at the top, it says 2025. So that's the battery we need. This one here is a 1616, which is too small. This one is a 2025. So this is the battery that we need. Now we know what battery we need to swap in there, and we have our 2025 battery. We're gonna take our soldering iron. We're gonna apply heat here to both blobs of solder that's on both sides of the battery here. So what I do, I take my little pair of tweezers and I just I gently put it underneath the actual tab. I start applying some heat to melt the solder. Solder will start melting, and I just start lifting, and then boom, our first side has popped free. So we didn't use a lot of pressure here. We just put it right under the tab and just started lifting up while applying heat to the blob of solder, which will just free it up. So now we're just gonna do the same thing over here, same process as before. Now this side, this is why I like using tweezers, because I can't really get under this blob of solder like I could here. So I like kind of using the tweezers to just grab onto it. And we're just gonna heat up this side. There we go, it's nice and melty. And see, just freed right up. Easy peasy. Now our battery has been removed. So what do we do next? Well, we don't want to reuse the solder that's already on the board. What we're going to use now is we're going to use our solder wick. This here, all you're going to have to do is apply heat to the solder wick itself and place it on the actual solder that you want to remove. Now be careful, because this copper does transfer heat. So if you're holding onto it, you will burn yourself. Either clip a piece off and just use it that way, or I honestly just hold on to it by the plastic shell that it's in, and you'll be good to go from there. So all we're just gonna do is we're gonna press down on our soldering iron onto the solder wick and then just start moving it around, and you'll see the solder wick will start wicking up all of our solder here. So now we have a clean pad, and you can see all of the solder has transferred onto the solder wick itself. This is where I would normally clip off our used up solder wick and then clean that up. Now I'm going to show you another option that you can use. This is a solder sucker. So this is going to work similar. Now this here will basically, you just press down on the tail, and we have a little button here. What you do, you heat up the solder so you get it nice and flowing here, and then you can just use the solder sucker to suck up the solder. Pretty neat. So that is the other way to do it. Either is going to work fine. We just want to make sure that we've removed our old solder from the board. Now this is where I take cotton swab, a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. You could pour it into the cap if you want. We don't need a whole lot, but we just want to make sure we've got some isopropyl alcohol on our cotton swab here. And we're just going to clean up the board. Just make sure that everything is good. You can use this time to also clean up the pins, because hey, they'll appreciate it. It's always good to give it a nice cleaning. Perfect. Now, something that's very important here, pay attention to the board. We're gonna have a positive terminal and a negative terminal. Both are marked, your positive and your negative. Same thing with the battery. We're gonna have a positive side, and we're gonna have a negative side. Pay attention to where the tabs are. Also, I didn't mention this before, make sure you buy a battery that already has tabs applied. I've seen all sorts of just horrific things online with people doing this, where they buy regular batteries and then they'll just use electrical tape to attach them, or they'll try soldering the old tabs from the old battery onto the new battery. Don't do that. These aren't expensive. Just buy the right tool for the right job. That's what you have to do. Okay, now that my little side tangent there is taken care of. So this side here, we'll notice this tab that goes over here is attached to the negative side. This tab here is attached to the positive side. So we just want to make sure that we are taking this part here, so this little tab that's attached to the positive, so this is going to go to this pad here that says positive, and same thing with negative. Next, we're going to grab some flux. This flux is going to help our solder that we're going to put on here stick to the pads. So let's take a little bit of flux. We're just going to add a little bit, nothing crazy. Just a little bit of flux on there, a couple little drops. Now we're going to take our solder, which I'm struggling to find the end of. So we're going to take our solder here. We're going to basically apply a little bit to the soldering iron. Now let's take our positive side and our negative side. Let's make sure they're lined up. Let's just make sure everything lines up perfect. Now we're just going to press our soldering iron onto where we want the solder to go, and then we're just going to take the solder and we're just going to gently start pushing it in and let it flow. So now perfect. We don't need too much. We just need a little blob there, just to make sure that it's holding the tab directly onto the board. So same thing over here. We're just gonna put our soldering iron down. We're just gonna start flowing the solder on. Okay. Now, as you can see, both tabs have solder. Our battery is nice and snugly in place here. We can put this together. Now we should test to make sure everything works. So we're gonna start our new game here. I'm gonna fast forward through this part because you guys don't need to watch me do this whole setup here. All right, so we're gonna save this. All right, so we have our save file of Dingus here. So now we're gonna take this out. We're gonna make sure that our save file is still in there. And there we go, continue, and there's Dingus. So there you have it. That is how you swap a battery. Easy peasy, right? So now that you've seen how to swap this battery, let's do it one more time here. So we're gonna do this one a little quicker, all right? This is a Game Boy Color game. Everything, same concept. This one's Frogger 2 here. First thing we gotta do, let's remove that Gamebit. Pop it free. So we're gonna take a look here, this one here, if you can see, it's a 1616 battery, so a little bit different size. Thankfully, I already have a 1616 battery ready for this. Almost as if I already planned all this out, right? Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna get under this side here, heat up the solder. Popped free. The other one took a little bit longer to do, but same thing. Now we're just gonna grab this leg here. Let's get this solder flowing. Boom. That side came off a lot easier. So yeah, if it takes you a little longer or anything like that, that's fine. Just be patient with it and don't yank up on it or anything like that, because we don't want to rip the pads off the board. So as you saw there, struggle a little bit, took a little bit longer. You just gotta be patient and delicate with it, and you'll get it off in no time. So we're gonna clean up our solder here. Looking good. Let's clean up this pad now. All right. We're gonna add a little bit of flux. Once again, we got to pay attention. So our positive side's right here, our negative side's right there. Our positive side on the battery, this is our tab. Our negative side's gonna go right here. So we're just gonna put that in place. Let's get a little solder. Oh, let's actually clean off our tip. We're gonna add a little bit of solder on the tip. I literally forgot a step. I didn't even clean the pads off with isopropyl alcohol. Guys, I didn't even follow my own instructions. I'm sorry. Well, well, it's kind of a little late for cleaning the pads off with isopropyl alcohol, but We'll at least clean the board up. You know, it's funny, I'm too focused on like trying to be a teacher instead of actually doing a good job. So I apologize for that. Normally, you should follow the instructions that I gave on the first one and actually clean the board properly before you solder it in there, but oh well. Oh well, it's still stuck to it just fine, so it's not a big deal. We want to clean the pads to make sure they're making good contact and the solder's able to stick very easily. But, you know, it's stuck on there, so we should be pretty good. Perfect. Well, I hope this was very easy to follow and you guys learned something. I'll have Amazon links for everything. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you do buy anything through any of the links, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It literally just helps me. That's it. That's the only difference. So if you enjoyed this and you learned anything and you were planning on buying any of these tools, buy it through one of my links. It'll help me out and it'll help me fund more videos. If there are any other videos you would like to see kind of a tutorial on, leave a comment. Let me know. Leave a comment down below if you watched this and were able to actually successfully do your own battery swap. I would love to hear that. Genuinely, I'd love to hear that. If there's anything that I did that you think I should have done differently, leave a comment as well. Let me know, because I'll definitely say that I'm not perfect and I'm always learning every single day. I would love to improve on my own skills as well. So yeah, if you like it, leave a thumbs up. I hit that little bell icon over there. I think it's down here somewhere. Hit that, because that'll let you know when I post things, because I do post things. I don't know how to end videos though. I love all of you guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Go swap your batteries. Your games will appreciate it. Goodbye. Oh yeah, I kind of didn't show you guys the save file works on this one too. There's Dingus. I quickly made something just to show you that this works. There you go. Sorry, I forgot. Goodbye again. I still love you.